Morning, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Coffee with Chris. I'm Chris Beery. As always, I'm honored to have everybody here. It's a beautiful Friday. It's a week that kind of kicked my butt a little bit, and I'll admit it wasn't the week I had set out to have when it had started. And a lot of that had to do with some stuff that maybe I could make excuses about. Maybe I could say, well, I wasn't feeling well. My throat kind of hurt. I had some of the same symptoms that I felt when I had COVID. And even though that was only a few months ago, I felt the need to be a little bit more careful and immediately went and got rapid tested because it was one thing that I didn't feel well. What ate at my core was that I didn't do some of the things I was supposed to do because I didn't feel good. And that is just something that is so against my inner nature. In previous episodes, I talk about setting yourself up, creating a mindset that kind of gives friction to your lesser self. If you're just letting yourself sit on the couch, eat horrible food, spend more time with your feet up, then maybe you would really necessarily need to stay healthy and active and productive in your life. And, it's better to at least know I'm a huge believer in the 12 steps. I think that it's outside of what the 12 steps do for those who have addictions and problems that they need to change. It's a super effective way to change yourself, to find a way to improve, get better. If you've got these habits that are stuck with you, that are really rooted in, the 12 steps is phenomenal because the first one is admitting that you might have a problem. The first step is always admitting, okay, it's time now. This is an issue. It's no longer serving me. If this continues, I'm going to have a real problem. So, admitting to yourself. So the first step in all things, in all ways of life, if you want to change your direction, especially for the better, then what you first need to analyze is yourself. Get some self-awareness. Admit that you might have a problem. And if your problem is that you don't have enough problems and you're soft and you're lazy, give yourself some problems. Go find some suck, because that suck is going to do so much for your life. If you're just sitting on the couch doing absolutely nothing and you're wondering why everything hurts anyway, if you're just sitting there letting your body decay, then you almost deserve some of the aches and pains and decay that come along with that decay. So if you want your body to heal itself, you have to break it down on purpose. You have to change your direction. You have to admit that you have a problem, and your problem is that you're too comfortable and you enjoy being too comfortable. You don't want to fail. Physical failure is painful, it's demoralizing, and it's nothing compared to failures in other ways of life. Failing in a business, failing in a marriage, failing at parenting, these are real failures. These are failures that don't just make you feel bad physically. They can completely take over your mind. They can change the way that you think about yourself. They can change the way that you approach new situations in the future. They forever mold you. And people are afraid of these failures. They avoid them. They avoid them in the way that being a victim of a traumatic event avoids anything that reminds them of that traumatic event. Let me be clear. There is power in trauma. There is power in life beating you up. If you're bottom of the totem pole, grew up bottom of the totem pole, found yourself one day at the bottom of the totem pole, there is power there. There is a thin line that comes from, or there's a thin line that you start to approach as you get to the hardest spots in your life. And I really pray that nobody has to get there. But if you have to get there to get your mind right, the fine line that you start approaching is no longer what do you think of yourself, but what is true? What could you do to improve it? What is actually true about yourself? And you get the choice at that key moment to say, I'm tired of this. I don't want this anymore. This isn't what I choose. Failing at anything else could suck no worse than being in this spot where I am right now. And I promise you that failing is something that you get used to. It is a muscle that everybody tries to avoid using and then are amazed when faced with a situation where they have to flex their failure muscle, that it gives out, that it has no power, it has no control, and they have no ability to steer or direct their life when confronted with any type of failure. And you need to realize that you get better at anything by learning through failure. I tell my kids all the time, when we go to jiu-jitsu, the number one goal is to win. Winning is always number one. But that does not mean that losing is second to winning. Losing is a different kind of success. It is failure that propels you forward. Because if you lost, the only way that someone can beat you in hand-to-hand combat is by showing you one of their tricks. They can show you something that they do better than you and instantly give you the secret. Here you go. Here's what you need to improve on if you want to beat me. So what most people don't realize is every failure in life leaves the seed of truth that belongs to the success beyond the failure. No failure is just there to smack you in the face and make you feel bad. No failure is there just to push you on your butt and leave you with nothing. Every failure contains the seed of success. But it's up to you to grab it, plant it, water it, nurture it, and understand that it's a perspective. If you look at every failure as something that has set you back instead of propelled you forward, then you're constantly going to avoid it. You'll never get good at it. You'll never allow yourself to propel yourself into a project, a direction, a career, a relationship, a financial strategy, because you are not adapted to the feeling of failure. Failure is not something that we should reward or look forward to. It sucks. But if you go through life and nothing sucks, then you're not doing something right. You're creating a nice, soft, Nerf ball life when in reality, life is going to come hit you with a brick at some point. And the key is to understand that going through adversity, going through challenges, dealing with something that sucks is a day in, day out reality. It's not something that's unique to you. Maybe the level of suck that you're dealing with might feel unique to you, but someone was there and someone prevailed. So choose, is that going to be you, or are you going to be the person that just really couldn't handle it, really couldn't stand the pain that came from being able to do a few extra pull-ups, doing some sit-ups, go walk on the treadmill? Are you so adverse to failing, to getting into a point of pain and discomfort, that you are going to create a Nerf life for yourself, soft padded walls where nothing can really get you until something does? Because life does not reward the ill-prepared. You do not do yourself any favors by removing discomfort from your life. What gives you the best advantage is selecting carefully the habits, the tools, the people that you introduce into your life that push you to be uncomfortable. If your mother was the type of person that told you to sit down and relax, you were getting too worked up, or that you got a little bit hurt, take it easy, it's okay, you can relax now, then that's the mommy voice that I talk about. That's the mommy voice that I consider to be a mechanism, a defense mechanism that your brain has to keep you from pain. And it's not doing you any favors. You got to tell your mom that you're a big boy or a big girl now, and you can handle a little bit of pain, and you're tougher than that. you can push beyond it. So if you failed a little bit this week, if you're failing a little bit this month, if you're failing at something, don't look for the failure. Don't look at what is demoralizing you. Don't look at the things that are breaking you down, because that's just part of it. That's just part of growing. Breaking down and decay and pain and discomfort is part of all good things in life. If you're experiencing that right now, don't fear it. Don't run away from it. Lean into it, because inside, if you dig deep enough, there is a seed for the following success. If you're out of a relationship that has failed, inside of that relationship, inside of that failure, is a seed that you can plant, and it will grow. And if you nurture it, it will provide sustenance for the next relationship that you enter into. If you have a failed business venture, don't go look at the failed business venture and say, I'm a bad businessman. Look for the seed of success that exists for your next endeavor. It's in there. So your job as a human on this earth isn't to avoid failure, isn't to avoid discomfort, isn't to pursue success with the expectation that you will never fail, and if you do, that you are not worthy of the end product. The idea that we all need to adapt to and embrace is that failure is a sign that you're going in the right direction. If you are failing, it is because you are trying. If it's painful, it's because you're putting in the work. If it's uncomfortable, it's because you're creating resistance, and nothing good in life is going to come to you easy. Nothing lasting, nothing fulfilling comes without sweat, tears, determination, and grit. So it's Friday. If your mindset for tomorrow is that it's the weekend and you can kick your feet up, but you haven't done, excuse my language, jack shit all week, think about why you think Saturday is the day to relax. If that's who you are, and I'm a person like that. I grew up, Saturdays were a kick my feet up and relax kind of day. But I did that 2 days this week thinking that I was sick and I needed to recover and I needed to heal my body, and it was honestly just an excuse because I didn't feel good. So if you've done some of that this week, if you've done some over relaxation, some over resting, if you've been too comfortable, go get outside of your comfort zone, because you're not growing. You need to push yourself and you need to find the next thing to fail at. That's my message for the week, guys. I appreciate everybody for being here. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. And again, don't treat Saturday like just some other weekend. It's another day. It's another chance. If you've been lazy all week, if you've been avoiding pain, avoiding failure all week, find it in the weekends. Because the weekend warriors are the ones who finally get to reach their goals. If you're not putting in the hours now, there aren't many hours promised left. So thanks everybody for being here. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Coffee with Chris.